Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm not seeing... Oh, yeah, my audio is going through. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Oh, goodness me. So this is my first stream on the Watering Hole channel, and it's not a stream without a technical glitch, and I've just noticed that my chat is impossible to read because it's the wrong color. Because apparently Stream Elements, you can't just copy stuff in between accounts. You have to redo everything from scratch.
Oh, all right.
So
I wouldn't know. As I said, I'm kind of a neophyte when it comes to technology. I have no idea how I gained a following on the internet. I can barely use it, so.
Nope. That's not it. How come there's not just... I'm so confused. I'm like in the text settings and there's not just a thing for color.
Wait, are you looking at the YouTube or the YouTube? I mean,
there we go. There we go.
Like
got it.
Running chat. Okay.
Yeah. So on my actual stream, like, yeah, the normal chat is fine. Okay, let me just.
Okay.
Oh, now the chat just went away in the thing. Okay. This is great.
How's everyone's Thursday going? Anyone? It's so hot here. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with this thing. If I can't, I'm trying one more thing. If it doesn't work, it's just gonna... Oh, there we go. There we go. Got it.
Awesome.
Okay. So, yeah, this is my first stream on the new channel. As such, it's a little bit of a smaller audience than normal. It's only about 30 people, which I guess is a good audience for some channels.
It would be pretty good for mine, but...
Yeah, well... Yeah, I'm kind of going to pop back and forth between, like, I'm going to stream this week here and then next week at the other one or whatever. So that way we can kind of shepherd more people over there. People are wondering why it's Thursday. Why do we keep thinking it's Friday? Because tomorrow's a PD day for my kids, so they're home from school. So it feels like Friday.
What's a PD?
Professional Development Day.
Oh,
it's
right.
Like for teachers to write up their report cards and crap.
Ah, yes. Overrated.
Yeah, and then
Major.
like the last day of school is a Thursday, and instead of just calling the Thursday the last day of school, they have called the Friday a PD day. It's like,
I mean, okay.
sure.
Yeah, go off, I
I mean,
guess.
I guess that's a way to like just have the teachers get paid for the last day or whatever.
Yeah. It's
So,
just funny because it means nothing to the people that are actually like in the school. Or the parents.
yeah, yeah. So, how are you today? We didn't really do
Yes,
pre-show
I'm
banter because I was
good.
tech supporting.
It's like 85 degrees here and I'm outside all day, so it was extremely warm.
Oh, you know
But
what? I'm
otherwise,
just gonna.
good.
I'm sorry. I got distracted by tech stuff. I didn't introduce you. So joining me today is Heathen Queen.
It's me,
Welcome.
Mario. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Applause and everything. All right. Oh, this is going well. All right. So we're gonna get into some news. Starting with, did you get a chance to read the articles? I know you had a busy day.
Yeah, I skimmed through them. Some of them I had already sort of seen and read, but I have a basic feel for what we're talking about. And to be honest, I'm often better off the cuff.
Yeah, I have a highlighting app, so I remember which parts of the article I want to talk about. And there's actually a problem with this one because there's a big old picture of a Facebook post in the middle of it that I want to address some in the middle of this thing, but I can't remember where. I'll figure it out, maybe. So yeah. Anyway, we're gonna start with the school board candidate checked out LGBTQ library books so that kids can't read them. Oh, Hemant, you caved. Hemant gave her the headline that she wanted. Because that's one of the bits in here is that the other news source that reported on them, Frederick News Post, which I guess is a local paper, she actually called them and was like, "Hey, you need to change your headline from, a school board person checks out books so that nobody can read them to check them out so that kids can't read them."
Yeah, I mean, it's like the age-old tactic, right? You do something and then you spin it in such a way that it's like protecting children, and then nobody can really, come at you. I mean, obviously they can, but it's just the same old, same old, same old bullshit.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll get to it when we get to her Facebook post. But like, all right. So anyway, it's Pride Month. Libraries are putting displays up for Pride Month, and so this was the Brunswick Public Library. And yeah, so the lady who did this, she's actually a candidate for the school board in Brunswick.
She is.
And just icing on the cake, she homeschools her kids, so she doesn't even have any skin in the game. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, nothing says I care about public schools like keeping your kids out of them and then running for the board so you can help control them. Like, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Sorry. It's just like so on brand for Christians. It's just painful. It's painful.
Yeah, so the reasoning behind it, she said she was worried it would prompt age-inappropriate questions from young children. She said she didn't want her 3 children to see the word queer on a book, and she...
How would her children see them? They don't go there.
Well, apparently she'd noticed it when she took her kids there, and she, like, shepherded them past the display really quickly, put them in the kids section, then went to talk to the manager.
Oh, God.
Because
Karen, please.
Yeah, she's a literal Karen. She asked them to move the books out of the main lobby area and put it somewhere more private. So like do the thing that convenience stores do with their porn section and just have like behind a curtain or something. But she says it has nothing to do with the gay community. It has to do with the preservation of innocence. That's a load of bullshit right there.
Yeah, I mean, why would we need? What about being LGBTQ is a corruption of innocence? That's like saying like, well, I don't want people to know that people are in or children know that people are in heterosexual relationships because it might corrupt them.
Yeah, so we'll get to that. So the books that she
Sorry.
checked out. No, absolutely. I'm just you're the fact that you're able to anticipate exactly where this is headed.
Just yeah, like I think maybe so. I actually don't know. Did you grow up or were you ever a part of the church?
Yes, my mother is actually a lay worship leader in the United Church of Canada.
Oh, okay.
Now they are a more progressive church. I think they were the first church in Canada that performed gay weddings. I was actually at the annual general meeting where they decided that it was okay to be gay. And
So
I actually
I'm
remember
glad they were able to
they
come
put
to
on a
that.
little play where they had like a guy who was like anti homosexual, like virulently anti homosexual, and it was like kind of like a Wonderful Life scenario where, but
Right.
instead of like he's dead now, it's now you have the power to see who is gay, and and the way he saw it was like everybody's shaded blue, like, and the more blue you are, the more gay you are, and the message was everybody's a little gay.
That's funny.
And yeah, actually thinking back on it, it was a great play, but I was actually I had self radicalized, so I was like very much no, this is not good. Why are they doing this?
And yeah,
But
I grew up a conservative evangelical. So they're not very, the problem with conservative evangelicals is they're not very original.
no,
They kind of have like one basic script. So you could say ex evangelical did this, and I could probably tell you where that story is going to end.
yeah,
Right? They have like the same six arguments that they run over and over and over again, uh, and none of them are good. So like, yeah, as soon as you're like, oh, she's getting taking these books out of the library, and here's her crappy moral arguments, like, yep, heard them, lived them, wrong.
yeah. So the books that she was taking out that she's worried that they're going to corrupt her children's
Right.
innocence. They were books about LGBTQ history before Stonewall. So if you're not familiar, Stonewall is that was the riot. That is the reason Pride Month is June.
Right.
It was a gay nightclub in I think it was Manhattan, was it? Greenwich Village.
Yes.
It was a gay nightclub in Greenwich Village. Got raided by the police. The police were you read the history of it. They were doing crazy shit. Like any guy dressed up in drag was immediately arrested.
Yeah.
Women, if they were not wearing at least 3 items of feminine clothing, they were arrested. Like what? I read that, and it was just like, what the fuck? Like even for the 1960s, that's
It's so
what
wild.
what counts like
Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show that, like, unsurprisingly, people have no understanding of history at all, because the fact that we've feminized certain clothings now, like, people's heads would explode if they like went back in time a little bit and saw what like was considered manly
yeah.
or masculine clothing, right? Like that
Jesus
now we're
wore
like,
a
nope.
dress. Like they always have them in the, it's not a dress, but like
Well, no, I know. Like
it's like
I ask people that often, like, so y'all that are so concerned with males wearing dresses, right? What do you think you're going to be wearing when you go to heaven?
long flowy robes.
Some Wranglers? Like you are going to be in a robe. There are going to be no pant legs.
Yeah.
You would call it a dress. Like
Well, one of the other books that she checked out was literally a biography written by a gay man. So that's like if I were to go to the like or just flip the script a little bit. Have a gay person go into the library. They see a biography of Neil Armstrong and they say, "I don't want to sexualize my kids because I'm sure it mentions in that biography at some point that he was married to a woman." Like that's what this is. That's the same level.
yeah, it comes down to Christians thinking that, at least conservative evangelical Christians, I don't want to get people like, not all Christians, I don't care, um, thinking that they have the moral high ground and that everyone needs to conform to their idea of morality. Most of them don't even know that the word homosexual wasn't in the Bible until 1946, right? And like, we don't have to talk about that now, but it's like, if you don't even know that,
Yeah.
why are we all being subject to your like dumbass moral standards? Sorry, am I allowed to cuss on this channel? I just
Fucking
assume
A, yeah. Fucking
if
yeah.
you invited me on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Swear your ass off. But yeah, so Hemant says it's not about preserving innocence. It's about making sure LGBTQ students continue to struggle because people like Fletcher don't give a shit about them. Isn't Hemant the friendly atheist? Like, when you get Hemant saying shit like that about you, it's like
I mean,
you done something wrong. You done fucked up if Hemant's talking
he's
shit.
friendly if you like compare him to me. No, no, he does. I mean, generally speaking, he seems very friendly. But yeah, if he's saying like you just don't want people to give a shit about these people or these kids, then like maybe you should just like take a step back. I know you got like only two brain cells up here competing for
Well,
third place, but use them and think about why that might be.
well, probably. So this is probably my favorite part of the story. The reason I picked this up, my dad is a librarian, so when we get to her Facebook post later, the guy that she went to talk to would be my dad in the library that he had worked at. It like literally that was his job. So I know a little bit about how libraries work,
Right.
just from osmosis, I guess. But so she checks out these books from the display. It's like it's a library. They have multiple copies of the same book often.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they have other books from the same category. As soon as she left, that display got restocked immediately.
Brain
And
small.
on on top of that, not only did they just restock the shelf right after she left, the libraries decide which books to order more copies of based on
Based
how
on
frequently
how
they get
many.
checked out. So she literally did that was the equivalent of going to a YouTube video that you hate and hitting the like button. Like,
Yeah, logic
I mean,
is not abundant in
not
these
not that the
folks.
dislike button does anything anymore. It's like it's supposed to like send a message directly to the creator so that they can still see the metrics, but it doesn't like it makes it harder to do a pile on or whatever. It's
Right.
like I never look at my channel's overall, like I only ever looked at the individual video, so I don't see it anymore now that they've
Right.
changed that.
I don't care. It's like when people come onto my TikToks and they say something like hate comment, right? Like you're just running me up the algorithm. So like carry on.
Yeah,
Um
there's
it's
one guy on my channel. He every now and then I actually got an email from him recently because I guess he's frustrated with me supposedly deleting his comments from my YouTube channel.
like I don't care about you.
Yeah, no, he and some of them get through. I've seen him on my channel before. I know that some of them get through, but like YouTube has something where like they'll just random, like it seems random, but like I think they have an AI that's flagging it for I don't know what.
Something.
I have very
Yeah.
little control over that. If I turn off, like I can turn that on or off. If I turn it off, then a
Right.
bunch of those spammy click this link that will give you a virus comments get
Yes.
through. And if I turn it on, then some people like him get caught up in it, but whatever. But yeah, he sent me this really long-winded
Tragic.
email about how cowardly I am for censoring him from my channel. Meanwhile, I'm just like, no, man, if like I don't delete, I don't have enough time to go on my channel and
Right.
delete comments from people I don't like. Like
Yeah.
that's just you being enough of a douche that YouTube's AI picks up on it.
Yeah. And also like get a fucking hobby. If you're noticing that you comment something and it's deleted, like how much time are you spending on my videos? Like
Yeah,
get it
but
together. You're a grown man.
he's driving the algorithm for me, so I'm not going to stop him.
Okay,
Like,
keep
go
it up,
for it.
I guess. I know there's this one guy, I think it's a guy, I think his name's like Patrick something, I don't know. He comments on every single video I post on TikTok. And it would seem he's a Christian and he just can't get over the fact that I talk about the problems of Christianity. And it's just like, it's so wild to me because he keeps commenting and I keep telling him, like, dog, more people are seeing my video because you're commenting, and you're going to see more videos like mine because
you're
you're
engaging with it.
commenting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but keep it up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that's how YouTube figures out what you want to see is what you engage with the most.
Right.
All right, so this is her Facebook post. I don't want to read the whole thing, but yeah, so she asked the librarian at the information desk if I could speak to whomever was in charge when the librarian in charge came out. So that would be my dad. You go to the information desk and ask for whoever's in charge over here. My dad
Right.
comes out.
Can I speak to a manager?
Yeah.
You sure can.
Yeah, so let's see. All the books on the display were adult books. Now, this is adult in that they were not targeted at children. This is not adult as in sexually explicit. But she compares it. Where are we? I really wish I could have highlighted this, but it's a picture. I suppose I could have clicked on the link and gone to her Facebook page and like highlighted it there, but that seems like
No, don't
work.
engage.
Yeah. Where are we? Okay, yeah. So my concerns are not specific to LGBTQ plus materials. I have plenty of concerns about heterosexual themes and sexual content too. If there had been books on display of inappropriate romance novels like 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James or movies with violence or sexual pictures on the cover, I would have grabbed those books and or movies and done the same thing. Now, first off, I doubt that. I feel like she's the kind of person that
No,
like
she wouldn't.
everybody knows she's anti-LGBTQ, so her checking out the books is like under protest. But if she's checking out,
Yeah.
like if she would be too embarrassed to check out 50 Shades of Grey, it's like, no, I'm checking it out so that the kids don't see it. That's why. Like, yeah, no, nobody would believe that.
Yeah,
And
no, but also because you haven't gotten laid in 20 years. But hey, who am I to judge?
but also like this goes back to my point where like one of them was a biography. Like that's
Right.
not sexual content. That's a this is what
No,
happened in this
that's
guy's life.
because Christians sexualize everything. And the only thing that they can see, or the only thing that the only way that they understand the LGBTQ community is in the context of people having sex. That's it, right? Like, people are just having a relationship. Yes, sex is a part of it, but there's nothing inherently sexual about being part of the LGBTQ
No.
community, just like there's nothing inherently sexual about being a heterosexual person, right? Like, I could be attracted to men. That's not sexually explicit in and of itself. It's just,
Cat.
yeah, Christians are, I will die on this hill, are the most hypersexual people on earth. Everything is about sex with them. And the fact of the matter is that, like, there's nothing sexual, like you said, about a biography written by a gay man. There's nothing inherently sexual about the Stonewall riots. People having rights was the thing at stake. And the only reason that she is saying this is because it gives her some stupid moral argument that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, so apparently her oldest kid is 10 years old, and Hammond said if that kid has to live with a homophobic mother, then he's old enough to know what she's ranting about.
I mean, he's
And,
not wrong.
like I guarantee it. Like they say that they don't want their kids exposed to that sort of thing. I guarantee you, their kids are exposed to it far more through hearing them rant and rave about it than they would be if they just
Yes.
accepted it.
Like, as a child that grew up evangelical, I swear to God, I heard so much more about being gay or lesbian or whatever than I would have if I had just existed and then at some point met someone that had two moms or two dads and was like, yeah, I have two moms. All right. Like, the problem is like the incessant talking about it, where it's like it's just this weird obsession. It's such a weird obsession.
It is. So, fun fact: my daughter has several LGBTQ friends, and they in their little chat group they call themselves the homosexuals
That's funny.
because they're homies.
I love that. There's a neighborhood where I live. So the city I live in has like different areas have different like nicknames. And there's one that's called like Haven Court. But for some reason there's just like a ton of like LGBTQ people there, and so they all call it Gaven's Court. I love it. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so just because she wants to keep her own kids ignorant about gender identity, sexual orientation, and American history doesn't mean everyone else's kids have to live in the dark. Yep.
Right.
And then he ends by pointing out that she homeschools her kids. So it says that decision, of course, that's her decision, of course, but that means her entire campaign is a larger version of her library stunt. She's trying to inject herself into a world she doesn't understand and wants no part of. Also, she can ruin the experience for everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what world she does understand. But it isn't this one. It's not reality.
I could not have said that better myself.
Yeah, no. Just yikes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get on to some cool science stuff.
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm gonna pull it up myself so I can read it with you.
All right. So scientists have figured out why childbirth became so complex and dangerous. And as usual, the headline's overstating it a bit. Scientists have have more evidence for a hypothesis that kind of went against the consensus. Would be a more accurate headline, but that's kind of
not
boring.
quite as catchy.
All right, so it's a standard idea of why childbirth sucks for us is because of the big brains. So, like the
I mean,
babies.
I feel like big brains aren't the problem for most people, but anyway, carry on.
Yeah, no, it's just like that's most
Yeah, yeah,
most
yeah.
animals they give birth. Like a deer gives birth, the baby deer stands up and walks around within minutes.
Right.
Like stuff like that. So, whereas we give birth and our kid needs to like cling to us for 2 years before they're ready to do anything by themselves. That's because we need to give birth early. Well, I don't have the capacity to do that, but people need to give birth early so that the head doesn't kill them on the way out,
Right. Yeah, yeah.
because otherwise it would just be
That's
too big. And so, what this study has found is that there is evidence that that's not the case. Something about walking upright would have complicated the birthing process before and made so, like in this case they looked at Australopithecus afarensis, Lucy, and they found that with the like they did 3D simulations of like different size heads passing through the
right.
pelvis,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
one that worked best would have been too small for the functions that the Australopithecine would have needed to
Wait,
work on their own.
you're
So
telling me that it's not because Eve ate a piece of fruit?
was Eve and Australopithecus?
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to go change my entire worldview now. I thought it was because women bad, therefore pain.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's kind of one of the reasons I picked this article because it really highlights some of the problems with the design of the birthing system. So the fetus normally navigates a narrow, convoluted birth canal by bending and turning its head at different phases during a human delivery, and this complicated procedure has significant risk of birth complications, which may range from extended labor to stillbirth or don't know why I'm tripping over that. It's not a hard word. Maternal death. And yeah, so these issues have been thought in the past to be like the outcome of conflict between make the brains bigger and make them walk upright, because it's easier to give birth if you're not walking upright.
Yeah, I mean, that's sorry. Whenever I read these articles, I know this is probably not the direction you were going in, so apologies. But like I imagine Christians reading them and their head just like exploding. Or being like, because if I would have read this when I was religious, it would have been like devil propaganda. Where like, the evidence is planted by the devil to deceive us. And so like reading about it, it's just yeah, sorry. I know that's not the
No,
direction
no,
you were
no.
trying
This
to
is.
go in, but it's just
I actually had similar thoughts. I was actually like kind of picturing how Matt Powell would respond to this article. And I'm picturing him seeing like these three pelvises here and being like, "Oh, they don't actually have any evidence for it. They just simulated a fake baby that didn't exist, and they found the one that they liked the best, and that's the one."
they just like ran some stuff until it did something that they like, and then they just did that because I don't understand science.
Yeah, they.
Uh, yeah, it's
Yeah, no, that
so like
absolutely entered my head while I was reading this.
it's just yeah, it like sorry, it's just so the further away I've gotten from my religious upbringing, which has been like over a decade now, the more I'm just like, how do grown adults with all of this information at their fingertips rationalize away
Sorry, the cat just like
like
squatted on my arm for a second.
how do they rationalize away like scientific evidence, and the way that they do it, which I can hardly call rational, is by saying that like no, Satan, king of the underworld, is out here trying to trick us into believing in science so that we don't believe in the very true and logical story that God created a man and a woman and somehow they populated the earth. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Like, sorry.
No, don't apologize. That's what we're here for, to kind of go off the rails. And
Yeah, it just blows my mind, right? And the other thing that kind of like frustrates me is that even though I left religion a long time ago, the deficit of my scientific knowledge has not like gone away because I went to a Christian school whose evidence against evolution, I wish I was joking. The evidence that they presented against evolution, prepare yourself, hold on to your butts, was that
It's still a theory.
not even that, it's worse. The Loch Ness monster exists.
Oh God, okay. I know where they're getting that from. There's only a handful of creationists that still talk about that shit.
Yeah. And they fly in here apparently. That was it. That was the entirety of their argument against evolution. Was that, well, the Loch Ness monster exists. She's, or he, I guess, I don't know, is a dinosaur that hasn't like evolved. So clearly evolution false. And there's like no
That's when you blow their mind when
fossils.
you're like, hey, you know an ichthyosaur is not a dinosaur, right?
They don't even know that word. Like that, they don't know that word. I would bet dollars to donuts if you picked a random sampling of 100 Christians, they would have no idea what that is. Um, and I think like it doesn't surprise me that Christians just believe this because I mean like they think a talking donkey happened. Um, but like I think it's egregious that anybody is allowed to teach this shit. Um, because then kids grow up and even if they get out of it, like obviously I don't think like I know I believe evolution is true,
Yeah.
but like I didn't get any actual like education in that, right? Everything that I know now, which is still limited, I've learned from things I've read or people on the internet or whatever, not people on the internet, like actual scientists on the internet. um yeah, but like sometimes it feels like this like really futile task because even if you present Christians with articles like this, um, they're not. First of all, they're not going to understand them. Second of all, they're going to just be like, "Well, no, that's just like devil propaganda."
Now, if I could just push back for just slightly
Sure.
on your use of the word Christian, just the caveat that like I think we're both aware that
Yes.
there are intelligent Christians out there. Not every Christian is a young Earth creationist.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
That's just
No, that's fair.
yeah, that's just one of the things I try to do in my videos just to keep them categorized.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I disagree with the people over at BioLogos, but using people who say we like our mission in life is to make science and the Bible compatible.
Right.
Like that's going to be a more impactful source for young Earth creationists than Richard Dawkins, who
For
I
sure.
also don't
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, I don't like him either. Um,
I just
wasn't it Richard
I've
Dawkins
been watching
that came out with a bunch of transphobic nonsense
well,
recently?
which one wasn't it at this point? Yeah, I wasn't terribly recently, but yeah, I've been watching Doctor Who with the kids, and Richard Dawkins has a couple of cameos on there that I forgot about, and like he shows up and it's just like, oh, I got excited the first time I saw that scene.
Yeah, I guess we all evolve. No,
Yeah.
you are right. It certainly isn't all Christians. And I think like this will come to a surprise as literally nobody that's followed me for any amount of time. I know that it's not all Christians.
Yeah.
There are certainly smart Christians and there are Christians that don't believe in certain ways. Um,
I figured you did. I just wanted to make it explicit.
yeah, so definitely that. I also think I've given up on parsing personally because it then allows for a lot of people to say like, well, I'm not one of those Christians, and that's fine. Maybe you aren't one of those Christians.
You're one of the
like
other
the not all
40,000
men thing to me,
denominations,
right? Like, cool, great, yeah, awesome, but like maybe you need to deal with your own because like othering yourself is not helpful.
That's fair. I have been tempted to be like, I'm not that kind of man in the past, but then it's like, eh. So okay, we're completely off topic here, but just to tell,
Sorry.
just no, that's fine. Just to tell a story. So shortly after my wife died, I was finding myself like very, very lonely, but not like wanting a romantic relationship.
Right.
So I had this moment where I was like, I'll bet you someone's developed an app that's like Tinder, but just for people who want to cuddle, but not have a relationship.
Oh yeah.
So I looked into it. Absolutely, people have developed that app, and guess what happened? It got ruined by men.
I'm shocked.
Because men would
shocked.
sign up for that, they'd do the cuddle thing, and they'd grab a
they-
butt or something while they were doing it. It's like, come on, guys, get it together.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about your loss. That's awful, unimaginable.
Yeah, thanks.
Um,
Yeah, I don't
won't
bring it
drag
up
you
to
into
like bring the
talking
mood
about
down.
that.
It's just
No, so again, this is again not exactly the same, but like when I was in my early 20s, my partner at the time killed themselves.
ooh.
And so like yeah, I know about bringing the mood down, but I also know, and this was not the same as losing a like long-term partner necessarily, but anyway, yeah. But it's fine. We can pick the mood back up because I have so many people to roast because I saw the tweets. So
Yeah, we'll get there. I actually, my kids are gone tonight, so normally I have to end it at 10 because that's usually when my daughter comes down for her emergency cuddles. She usually around 10 every night because she misses her mother. She'll come downstairs and we'll cuddle up and have a little conversation. And actually, I know we're way off topic now, but that's one of the harms of religion. So I haven't raised her religious. She is aware of the religion, but she does not believe it. I do not believe it. I have not told her not to believe it. But
make her own choices.
after her mother died, there have been some times when she has like been on the verge of a panic attack because some people believe that hell is a real place and what if mama's there? And religion is this is supposed to be the one thing that religion is really, really good at, is comforting people in a moment of loss. And she doesn't even believe it, and it has her terrified sometimes.
Yeah. I don't blame her. It also makes me so furious. It just makes me furious. Like it's hard enough to think that if someone passes away that there's nothing. And I'm just an average human being. I have no idea what happens after we die. Anything could happen, right? But the fact that a group of people are so hell-bent on this, and that it's infiltrated so much of our sort of culture that it's sort of gotten into this psyche of people who don't even believe it, just makes me furious. Like, loss is hard enough, especially of a parent or a partner. It should not be made exponentially harder by folks who don't even know their own goddamn book. Huh?
Yeah.
Like, oh, hell exists. Tell me about it in the Old Testament. I'll wait. Like,
so fun fact, I thought this would be the shortest of the news articles.
sorry.
That's okay.
It would have been if I hadn't just like left off a clip with it.
You know what? That's fine. I posted about this a little while ago, but I'm actually in the process of I'm being assessed for ADHD. So this is my jam.
Diagnosed.
There we go. All right.
And medicated, and it's only helped sometimes.
Actually, I'm gonna make a standalone video on that. But so when I announced it, all of what I got was supportive. But there were a couple comments that were supportive. They were intending on being supportive, but they were saying things like, "Don't let them drug you out of existence," or like stuff like that. And like they meant well, but it's like. It's like, yeah, you know what? I'm, and this is something that actually a lot of ADHD people find, is that I am already self-medicating with caffeine, because that's one of the treatments, is a stimulant. And I've actually recently cut back. Before recently, I would drink 1.5 liters of tea a day, and like a high caffeine, like more caffeine than a cup of coffee type of tea.
It absolutely drives me bonkers when people. So I am not at the moment, but I was for a long time on antidepressants, like anti-anxiety pills. And
that's another thing, is that about 75% of people with ADHD also have something else.
Yes. Now, part of the reason I'm not on them right now is because I'm medicated for ADHD, and my life feels like I can actually do things. Like I can actually get things done, which surprisingly makes me feel less anxious.
Yeah.
That's when people like, because I've always been pretty outspoken about like destigmatizing mental health, and the fact that if you and your doctor, psychiatrist, come to a conclusion that you should try medication, there's absolutely no shame in that.
Yeah.
It's not a sign of weakness. It's not anything. It is something, there is an imbalance in your brain that can be helped.
Yeah.
Like if someone said, I have cancer and there's a treatment, you wouldn't shame them for taking the treatment.
Some
right?
people do.
Like, yeah, well, some people do.
Like that's
but, like,
Steve Jobs died because he didn't get actual treatment because he went to the pseudoscience stuff.
I mean, you can choose that for yourself, but somebody else shouldn't be allowed to tell you, like, that's weakness to seek treatment.
Your point is well taken. It's just that no matter what you pick, there's going to be someone that's like, don't go with the traditional or with the standard medicine. Go with the alternate medicine.
I'm like, sure, show me your certifications. Where did you study?
That's actually, well, one of the things I'm like, I think I am probably seeking medication because, like, this was another comment that I got was that, like, I should be focused on my kids because at my age I probably have already figured everything out for myself, all the coping mechanisms that I need for myself now.
Oh my god.
And like I'm just going to look over here. I'm not going to show you guys over there because that would make me anxious because it's a disaster over there. Like this is not a very tidy setup that I have here. And this is about as tidy as I'm capable of getting at the moment. Like my house is a disaster. Like I've like it's rough and I have a hard time with that. And this is something that I'm like, I do not have my coping mechanisms all worked out. What I had was a wife who was compensating for what I was lacking. And so now that I don't have that, that's like, I've suspected that I've had it for about 2 or 3 years now. But like, this has been the impetus, like my what caused me to go and look for a diagnosis was that my son had a track meet that he wanted me to go to, and I really wanted to go to it because I love seeing my kids compete and stuff like that. And the kids know I forget things, so he reminded me as he left for school. And he shut the door. He went to school. I drove down to Walmart, picked up the grocery. Didn't even have to do the shopping. I do the curbside pickup thing, which that like I feel like that's an accessibility necessity for people with ADHD because I do not do well in the store at all. So I did the curbside pickup. So I was gone for like 10 minutes. Get back home, completely forgot. Sat down on my computer, worked on my videos all day. My son that wasn't at the track meets got home from school at 3 o'clock, and as soon as I heard the door shut, it was like, shit, I was supposed to go to the school. Fuck. And I was so mad at myself that finally gave me the kick in the pants I needed to call the doctor. And
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Anyway, back to some pelvises.
This is what I'll say. If you are diagnosed with ADHD, I don't think you need to hear this, but for anybody else that might need to hear it, absolutely try the medication because it has changed my life.
And that's what I've heard from a lot of people. That was so I don't want to make it sound like this was a lot of people saying this sort of thing because most like there were at least 10 or 12 comments of people saying that like when I got the medication, it changed my life. It was amazing.
Yes.
So, and like I said, even the people that were saying these things, they were trying to help. They were
of course.
Yeah.
I mean, most people aren't intentionally there to just be a dickhead.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know that people. First of all, most people that are saying this have actually not been diagnosed with ADHD and have not been medicated.
Ooh, sorry. I did want to get back to the pelvises, but Drew Harrison just said caffeine is not an addiction.
It is. I
would just like to point out, it might have been, I forget what YouTube channel it was. It's one of the sciencey related ones that has all sorts of, they actually went through exactly what happens to your body when you stop drinking caffeine. This is what made me cut down on it. And it literally, like, it is an addictive drug. You go through with like legitimate withdrawal. Like the shakes that you get when you stop drinking your coffee, that is withdrawal. That's not just like, oh, I need my caffeine. That is withdrawal, literally.
Yeah, like, have you ever seen someone that's addicted to alcohol?
Oh, no, okay, no, he said apparently his phone cut him off early. Caffeine is not an addiction, caffeine is life.
Oh,
okay.
I was like, buddy, like, we're gonna have a moment.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, back to the pelvises.
Yes.
So they did 3 simulations with 3 different size heads. They found that only a 110-gram fetal head size passes through the pelvic inlet and midplane without difficulty, unlike the 180 and 145-gram sizes, which means that the Australopithecus newborns were neurologically immature and dependent on help, similar to human babies today. But the Australopithecines did not have the big brains. They hadn't evolved that yet. So
Right.
this means that our messed up birth stuff happened before the big brain stuff happened. So done with that article. Let's move on. So we're back to Hemant Mehta.
Shout out.
Army chaplain's PhD thesis, using the military to win Christian converts. And yes, this is exactly what it sounds like. It's actually worse than it sounds like from the headline. He's literally advocating for using the military to spread Christianity throughout the world, not just to military service members, but to the people in the countries that the military is sent to.
Yeah, while they're bombing them, like while they're raping people there, like while they're
just imagine how this would play out if you replaced Christianity with Islam in this, because there are Muslim troops. Would they be allowed to do a PhD thesis on using the army to spread Islam?
It's just, no, it's such a nightmare. It's such a nightmare, especially because we've become so accustomed to this type of thing that we're like, yeah, that's not great. And then we just kind of all move past it instead of realizing like how incredibly dangerous and scary it is that there are people out there that think this and that are trying to implement it, and we don't recognize it as a threat. I don't even know if threat is the right word, but like we don't recognize the fact that this is inherently flies in the face of what a secular pluralistic society is supposed to be.
He actually says later in the article that he's taking advantage of the fact that the military is pluralistic to get away with some of his stuff. Like, and one of the things that really stuck out to me was that we'll get to it. I'll get to it later. Don't let me forget this. But yeah, so first off, he's of the Southern Baptist Convention, and he's a chaplain. So given the report that just came out, that means that statistically he's either a sexual predator or he knows a sexual predator. Statistically speaking. Or he's actively protecting them. But yeah, anyway, he did his PhD dissertation in missiology, which is the study of religious missions, usually Christian ones. And apparently he did his whole dissertation in 7 months, which is outrageously fast for a PhD dissertation.
Where did he go? Like Grace Bible Theological Seminary that had to get a letter of exemption from like the Department of Education? Like, how do you do that in 7 months?
Let's see. Does it say what school it was?
It's just nobody does that. Sorry.
Oh yeah. No, you're same idea. Midwestern Baptist Theological Seminary.
Yeah, checks out. Yeah, the fact that anybody can do this and then call themselves a doctor is just like a. Blech.
Yeah, I have on more than one occasion considered getting a doctorate from a diploma mill, but I always end up not because I don't want to support them with my money.
Right, of course, yeah, but it drives me insane. These people, like the people that do this and then lord the term doctor over everyone, it's just like a circle jerk of mediocrity. Like, it's just so embarrassing for them personally. But the problem is that people don't actually know how a lot of these places are accredited, or if they're accredited, or like what it means to be accredited by a certain organization and not another. Yeah. And so it lends this idea of authority to folks who are like the most non-impressive people. Sorry.
Yeah. So he argues in his dissertation that Southern Baptists should work on planting biblically grounded churches near military installations so that they can later send these trained disciples on mission equipped to carry the gospel with them wherever they move or deploy to the ends of the earth. So he's literally advocating for using the army to spread Christianity, specifically Southern Baptist Christianity?
I sincerely mean this. Southern Baptists have no fucking idea what it means to be biblically sound.
I would agree with that.
They just don't. Their idea of biblically sound is cherry picked, and also rooted in white supremacy. Hi, Jesus Christ. The Southern Baptist Convention happened because of slavery. These people promote, at least some of them, and it historically, the idea that Jesus was a white man with blue eyes. Like, what are y'all smoking?
Because even in my super progressive gay loving church, we had the white Jesus picture hanging up everywhere.
But like, they actually think, some of them actually think Jesus was a white man. Like, if you talk to a lot of Christians, yeah, you'll see those kinds of pictures. They've been whitewashed, but if you kind of get into it, they'll be like, yeah, he was, from the Middle East. He probably had more like ruddy skin tone, right? But like, there are certain sects of the SBC that still think that Jesus was actually white.
That doesn't really surprise me all that much.
No, it's not surprising. It's just like,
well,
why is anyone listening to them?
What really drives me nuts here, so a military chaplain is supposed to be able to not just perform their duties in their own religion. They're supposed to be able to do it for other people's. Like, I always think like Father Mulcahy in MASH is like the perfect example of that, because he's a Catholic priest, but he had no problem setting that aside and performing a Buddhist wedding. Or he got a rabbi on the radio and was performing a bris, which I have different feelings about that episode now than when I was a Christian. It was like, no, leave that baby's foreskin alone. But the idea is he's putting his religion aside in order to fulfill his duty as an army chaplain for this service member who is not the same religion as him. And that's what an army chaplain is supposed to be able to do. And like this guy does not do, like, I'm going to skip.
No, of course he's not.
Skip down.
Bit. I know a certain someone who I will not name at this moment, who was a prison chaplain for some time, and he was a Christian, evangelical. Y'all might know who I'm talking about, but anyway, and he, like, the guy who led the sort of program at the prison, the sort of religious whatever, I don't know what to call it, who oversaw the chaplaincy, was a Christian. And so even though he was obligated to provide sort of like the fundamentals for each person's religion, like if you're a Muslim, then they needed to provide you with like a mat, right, to pray on. And they would pick the like least comfortable, cheapest, just like worst sort of fabric, whatever you want to call it, for those mats, because they just thought that religion was
the wrong
basically one. Satanic, right, and wrong, and yada yada yada. And so it's like, yeah, there's a lot of that going on. I know obviously the military and prison are different, but like it's the same idea, right? If you're going to become a chaplain where you're supposed to be able to minister or whatever, assist any religion, you actually need to have some respect for those other religions, even if you don't believe in them. And Christians absolutely, sorry, I know not all Christians, hashtag, do not respect other religions. And I honestly think you would be hard pressed unless you found some really progressive Christians, which exist, that genuinely respect other religions, and don't actually think like, yes, I respect that religion, but they're still going to hell. Like, that's a very specific thing. Yes, there are progressive Christians that can do that and say that, I know, but largely, even among Christians that say they respect other religions, they still think they're fundamentally wrong and in need of saving.
Yeah. So back to Father Mulcahy. Eric Mishma says, jocularity! Jocularity! Love that episode. Fun fact, those episodes were either aired out of order or filmed out of order, because they make jokes about Father Mulcahy's jocularity thing when they're all doing impressions of him before the jocularity incident that they were all making fun of happened. If you watch the episodes in the order that they are on the
That's
DVDs.
funny.
Which I forget what that. I think
Um,
that might have been the time he got drunk on the communion wine, and then gave a sermon on temperance.
so okay,
I
I'm
love
really
MASH.
scared to
Sorry,
admit this. I have never seen MASH.
it's good, but it was. You got to keep in mind that it was filmed in the 1970s, so there are some things where it's like, oh, that's kind of rapey. Don't do that.
I mean, I can't. So I grew up in the 90s and early, in the 2000s. And like one of my favorite shows was Home Improvement. And I thought I was going to be like nostalgic and like watch some episodes. And I was horrified
Yeah,
when I saw how like homophobic and awful it was. I was like, nope, nope,
yeah.
can't do this.
Well, that's the thing about MASH though, is that like it really was progressive. It's just like make Hawkeye less rapey, please.
Yes, please,
Like
please.
he doesn't need to be rapey. Like everything else was great about it. It was just, and I think in the later seasons he got better with it. It's like the first seasons they're kind of trying to be like the movie, which of course has the famous scene where they have to check and see if Margaret's, if the bushes match the drapes, or no, the
Oh, good
curtains
God.
match the drapes or whatever, so they pull down the
Yeah.
showers while she's at, and that was the movie. And I I actually haven't been able to finish the movie because I don't find it funny at all. It's just boring.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I mean, it's a interesting discussion, which I know again off topic, but like when we think about how much can we excuse based on when it was made, right? Versus like it's just it's interesting because there are certain things that I look back on and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, I could probably still watch that even though they had some problems. And there's other stuff that I watch and I'm like, ew. Like
yeah,
gonna have to let that one go.
yeah. Well, I mean, I have most of the DVDs for MASH, so
I mean, it sounds overall like it's probably mostly fine.
it is. I think maybe if I watched it again, I would have a different opinion. It's been a while since I've seen it last, but
Yeah.
anyway. So Harrison, that's the guy that got his PhD. He sees the
Yeah.
pluralistic. This is what we were talking about earlier. He sees the pluralistic nature of the military as an opportunity, saying this situation also offers access to people in need of the gospel. To him, non-Christian soldiers are nothing more than moving targets for Jesus. And then this is what really rankles me is that he was asked to like as a chaplain, he was asked to conduct a funeral for a Christian soldier who died in combat. Now the soldier was Christian, but he was told that the funeral needs to be secular. And he responded by saying he couldn't in good conscience intentionally remove Christ from a memorial service for another Christian. And then his commander relented and said, well, if there's any consequences, you're going to deal with them, not me. So he just passed the buck. And that would have pissed me right the fuck off. Like,
Oh,
because I actually
yeah, I would
remember
have lit shit up.
when my wife died, I had to explain what the word secular meant to our funeral director. She'd never
Oh my
heard it
God.
before. Now, thankfully, the person we ended up getting to do the service, she did a phenomenal job. It was amazing. But
It's
it's
just
still
so annoying.
it was an awkward conversation to have as it was. But then
Right.
if the response had been no, the person just gets up and preaches the gospel at us anyway, I would have been so fucking pissed.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, when someone dies, there should have to be no arguments. I'm going to tell you what they wanted or what I want or whatever, and then that's how it's going to go down. Because you didn't know that person, and unless they specifically said in their will this, service must be X, Y, or Z, I don't know why I'm arguing with some stranger about how we're going to do a funeral service for someone that I knew and loved. Yeah, in fact, we're not going to argue about that. And if we do, you're not going to like it. Because I just lost someone very near and dear to me, and now you're making me justify the way that I want their memorial service done. No,
Mm-hmm.
you can fucking eat shit. But like the fact that then somebody would get up and based on their own personal stance without knowing the person that's passed, out of complete disrespect for his family, because he thinks he knows what's best for other people. No.
Yeah,
I would
no.
have stood up in the middle of that service, taken his mic, and done it myself. Like, absolutely fucking up.
Yeah. And
But
yeah, and
I
we
hate that.
even we even got a couple comments afterwards from people that were at the funeral and were like, that was such a beautiful service for one that didn't mention God. And it's like these were people that we kind of know but kind of didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's
All
like,
right. Well, tell me
okay,
then.
that's
Um,
nice, whatever.
why did God allow this to happen?
Yeah, I wasn't about to do that there.
No, of course you weren't. And that's not like what you need to do. But like, generally speaking, the same people that want God included in everything have absolutely no answer when it comes to like, if God's in everything, why is all of this shit going to hell? Hmm? Like, where is he in all of this? You just want him in the funeral services? Like, come on, dog.
Yeah.
Like, sorry.
All right. No, it's all good. That's pretty much it. Hammett just goes into the thing about like if a Muslim chaplain were to do the same thing, that would
Right.
be like national news.
It's a terrible, terrible double standard. Wildly hypocritical.
So somehow, with all our tangents, we're actually on my normal time schedule still. So doing
Well,
well.
we did it.
All right. Somehow the ADHD still worked out. All right.
Maybe my lack of science knowledge helped us.
So we're starting with Eric's tweet. I just picked this because I thought it was hilarious. Says, do not eat pizza. Don't feed your children pizza. Pizza has zero nutrients. It is bland, synthetic, and filled with MSG, carcinogenic flavorants, and addictive gluteomorphin. Pizza inflames your gut, kills your taste buds, and destroys your dopamine receptors. Hashtag better together.
Oh, literally, the only thing that's destroying my dopamine receptors is having to read that fucking tweet.
I mean, if your pizza's bland, you're ordering the wrong pizza.
Pizza's delicious.
Pizza, like,
Alabama,
it
so...
can be bland if you do like a cheese only pizza, but even that, it's still like
but it's still pretty
bad
good.
pizza is still good.
Yeah,
like pizza's
I
one of those foods.
I don't know that
right?
I've had actually bad pizza, and trust me, I have tried many a pizza because I'm a big fan.
You know what? This is going to be a hot take. I'm actually a fan of Little Caesars, not because their pizza's amazing, but because I can feed my entire family for $20.
Hey, no shame. Yeah, no. I mean, the thing is like if you're telling me you're putting bread and cheese together in some combination,
you can't go wrong.
it's probably gonna be good. I don't know. I just like you're putting melted cheese and like fried bread. Now, if you're saying pizza isn't always healthy,
absolutely,
sure, fine. I'm with
I'd
you
even
on that.
say most of the time it's not healthy.
Right.
It can be healthy if you do it right, but
Yeah,
most people don't.
It's no. But to say that like you should not feed your kids pizza because it's going to destroy their dopamine receptors.
Well, and
Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like he says, it kills your taste buds, but like I would think that
no.
something that kills your taste buds would be something with too much flavor, wouldn't it? Because then it overwhelms them and makes them less receptive later.
Yeah, this person doesn't understand like they're
Well, they don't understand a lot based on
the
this.
brightest bulb on the marquee. But like, yeah, like.
But this
To
tweet
be honest,
has
pizza does
2,000.
worlds of
This
good
tweet
for
has
my dopamine
2,000
receptors.
likes. Yeah, pizza's good for dopamine.
Yeah, I want it. Actually, would like some pizza right now. To be honest.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know what?
I
it's been a while since we've done homemade pizza, but I probably won't make the bread. That was something that Mrs. Rhino did that I was always bad at. So I will probably just like buy tortillas or something and do tortilla pizza. The kids love that.
Oh.
But we use barbecue sauce instead of tomato sauce. You get like there's like this nice whiskey bourbon flavored barbecue sauce or whatever that we use. That's really, really good. And then you put all your toppings on top of the sauce, and then you put the cheese on top of the toppings, so it keeps them in place. And we load it up with like olives and bacon and all sorts of good stuff. It's
There's this place out here called California Pizza Kitchen, and they have like a really good pizza that has barbecue sauce as the sauce, and then like I don't even remember, chicken and some other stuff on top. But yes, very delicious. I don't eat it very often because the problem with me is that I could like house a whole pizza by myself. And I absolutely have no self-control, so I will do that.
Yeah, that happens to me. So my daughter's a vegetarian, so we'll order So when I do Little Caesars, I always, rather than getting their hot and ready things, I'll actually go through and order them. So
Right.
that like she likes pineapple on her pizza, so we'll get like pineapple and feta cheese. And no, they don't do feta at Little Caesars. But whatever. I let her pick her
Right.
toppings, and then I order my pizza will just be like their standard Canadian or something.
Yeah.
Um, and the boys will have like some of hers and some of mine, but I usually end up eating like half the pizza by myself in one sitting, and then I regret it
Dude.
for the rest of the night.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I will tell you, so if you get I know we're going kind of back. If you get medicated for ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
most likely what they'll give you is Adderall.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen this way for everyone. It happened this way for me. It kills my appetite for like the 8 hours after I've taken it. So I'll take it in the morning. I will not be hungry at all during the day. We'll forget to eat. They'll tell you like remember to eat, drink water. And then at night, when I get hungry, I'll be like, oh, I'm really hungry. And that is when bad decisions are made. And by bad decisions, I mean eating an entire pizza.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've yeah,
Which,
I'll polish off a whole pint of Ben and Jerry's by myself. Um,
man after my own heart.
yeah. Yes. Someone in the chat's asking about a Canadian pizza. So Canadian pizza is bacon, mushrooms, and pepperoni. Is the
Ugh.
Canadian.
I'm getting really hungry at the moment.
So let's move on from the pizza.
We're talking about the pizza.
All right. So we've got Sygart. I like this one. This one was cute. So he says, sitting in the waiting room of our lives, this is what I named the stream after. We wonder where God is. He is there waiting with us and helping us prepare for the joy to come. So obviously he's talking about life is the waiting room and heaven is the real thing. And then I think his response to this, where he says, why do atheists think I'm talking about wasting our lives with waiting? I'm totally against wasting 1 minute of the life we have. It's like, I don't know,
So
Cy.
you described it as a waiting room.
Why do you think we why do you think we got the impression that you're talking about waiting when you use the word waiting?
I can't imagine.
Like what is waiting if not like
Yeah. What do you do in a waiting room?
you waste time?
Just out of curiosity, do you like engage ferociously with every second of your life? Or no, you sit there and you flip through a magazine you don't really care about and try and
Magazines.
find
How
something.
old are you? Cell phones now. Switches.
Fine, I'm old, but well now
You're
yeah,
probably
that's
younger
true.
than
Now
me.
I will use my cell phone. I don't know why I thought of magazines. I just remember sitting in
Yeah,
waiting
no,
rooms when I was
that
younger
is
and like
that is the
yeah.
trope. Okay.
Or like staring at the like terrible fucking wall art and wondering like
Yes.
what that's supposed to be and also why it's there. And
You know what?
also, if you're
My
me,
doctor's office has
who
nice
chose that?
my doctor's office actually has nice wall art. So I live in the Niagara region, and it's all like beautiful pictures of the Niagara Gorge, which is the gorge that's been carved out by the Niagara River, and it's just
It's
covered
probably
in
God, to be honest.
trees, and all the pictures are in like the autumn, so they're all different colors and stuff. They're actually really nice pictures.
Hey, I love it. I love to see it. I don't see it here somehow, even though I live in California. Um, but good Lord. Yeah, I guess also, okay, and I know, sorry, I'm gonna ruin it like I do everything. When you said it's like cute and like, yeah, that is cute, I guess. But also, the first thing I thought when I read that was like, God, what a death cult. Because it's like,
Yeah, no.
it's
When I said
okay,
cute,
well,
that was meant in the condescending, like, oh, how cute. Like that
bless
wasn't.
your heart,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
brother in
exactly.
Christ. Yeah, because it's like, sorry, someone said they work at a pizza place and we're killing them. Um, One thing I always say about Christianity, and yes, okay, if you're a universalist, this isn't true. Like, fine, there are
They're
exceptions.
they're barely Christian.
Barely, I know. At least how I grew up in non-denominational evangelical Christianity, you cannot. You're born bad, effectively. You're
Yeah.
born sinful and awful and terrible and blah blah blah. Um, and you cannot, no matter what you do, redeem yourself. Right? The only thing you can do is accept Jesus, and He will give you that redemption. But you don't become sort of this like perfect, redeemed, holy human being until you fucking die.
Yeah.
Like, So they treat this life as a very much like a waiting room, as this like transitive place
It's
that
exactly
doesn't
what he
much
said it is.
matter. Sorry?
It's exactly what he said it is. It's the
Exactly.
waiting room
No,
of our
he's not
lives.
wrong. He's just missing his point by like 1 million miles. It's like he ran fucking dick first into the point and just missed it. Because it's like, yeah, that's exactly what Christians treat this life as, and that's why we're in trouble with so many things like climate change, right? Like Christians are like, who cares? This place overrated. It doesn't matter. Nothing good can happen here. Can't wait. Cannot wait to die and
Now,
get to heaven.
I have a logistical question. So you're not the first person I've heard use the phrase "run dick first into something," but from context, I've always heard it as kind of like a positive. Well, not necessarily positive. Like, what are you picturing when you say this? Like, dick first is in like, oh, there's a naked person on the bed in front of me, I run dick first into them? Or is it more like run dick first into that post that's sticking up out of the thing and then you,
yes,
and you flip?
Okay. It's more like they got really excited about something. They thought they had this like great idea, and they got.
So it's not that they hit the goal with the dick.
No, it's that they were like, ooh, this is it. This is the one. Like, I'm ready. And then they like just ran into that post, but somehow still managed to miss it. Like, I don't know. Like they got excited. They were like, hell yeah. And then they just ran into the post and were like, where did that come from?
Well,
what just happened?
I saw this one because Paul of Paulogia retweeted it, and he had the comment that probably inspired Sai to do the follow up. But I didn't know about the follow up. I was just like, oh, that'd be a good one for Twit tweets. And then I saw the follow up and like, that's a great one for Twit tweets.
It's just, it's so right and so incredibly wrong at the same time that it's like damn near embarrassing. But you know, I'm probably a little biased.
Yeah. Oh, next. This is the one. This is the only tweet I need to resize the thingy for. So bear with me a sec. Mitch McConnell calls on Democrats to pass Supreme Court security bill after man arrested outside Brett Kavanaugh's home. House Democrats must pass this bill, and they need to do it today. No more fiddling around with this. They need to pass it today before the sun sets. It's like funny how when a gun is found just near a Supreme Court justice, immediate action needs to be taken. But when children are mowed down with guns in schools, thoughts and prayers.
All I can say about this is that Vecna can shut the fuck up. That's my opinion on that.
Oh, Vecna's much better looking than him. Vecna looks young compared to Mitch McConnell.
Fucking skin is running away from your face. Maybe consider why that is. Like, God, sorry. Mitch McConnell is someone I hate more than almost anyone on planet Earth.
He's on my list of people that when they die, I will probably be a little bit happy.
Oh,
like I try not to celebrate people's deaths, but
no, generally speaking, I try to be someone who recognizes that people are human when they die, that people are mourning, generally. But I will not exclusively be that person, because when you have wreaked so much harm intentionally and for your own benefit at the expense of innocent lives and marginalized people.
Yeah.
I have said this publicly more than once, and I stand by it. When that man dies, I am buying an expensive bottle of champagne.
Nice. Veuve Clicquot. Really good.
Yep, exactly. Love it. And
my brother-in-law got married, and his father had he bought like 15 bottles of Veuve Clicquot for the wedding, and that was like, I've only been drunk a handful of times in my life, and that was one of them where I got drunk off of this really expensive champagne. It was great. It was a fun time.
The problem with champagne, I love it, don't get me wrong, is the sugar content will give you a massive headache the next day.
See, but you will be the next day.
Happy as shit while you're drunk.
Yeah, like, it was an easy drunk. Yeah.
Yes, it's not hard to just like, especially the good champagne. Yeah. Yes, fully agree.
It was really good.
Also, I know a number of people that, given the opportunity, will piss directly on his grave.
Mm-hmm.
And I would usually,
I would make a trip to the States for that.
yes, like, and usually I would be like, okay, let's be, nope, nope. I will help the GoFundMe.
Well,
Like,
I and I almost want to, like, I feel like mm, okay, I'm not sure if what I'm about to say is a felony or not. But I okay, I'm going to preface this by saying this is a joke. This is not serious. Do not take me seriously.
for legal purposes.
For yeah, I feel like the tie he's wearing in this picture would be the perfect tie to strangle him with.
Yeah, for me, any tie.
No, but look at the colors of the tie.
Let me pull it up. Tell me it's red, white, and blue.
No, it's literally the trans colors.
Oh my fucking
The trans
God.
flag colors. That's the perfect tie to, just joking, strangle him with.
JK LOL.
Yeah, I'm not even touching the thing about the guy with the gun at Kavanaugh's house because I know I will say something illegal if I talk about that too much.
I don't think what I'm gonna say is illegal. I live with an attorney, so I feel okay saying some of this. I actually don't really give a shit that a guy with a gun showed up at Kavanaugh's house. Would I encourage it and say, like, you should do that? No, I won't say that. But also, like, welcome to life for the rest of us. This is the threat people are under constantly, is that someone is going to show up, not even in a private place, in a public place, and mow them down. And our government is happy to immediately respond to a threat against a rich white man who is accused of sexual assault.
Very credibly accused of sexual assault.
Oh yeah. I say accused because I feel like I have to say that, but that man is guilty as fuck in my book. If it was like, do you think Kavanaugh did that or you die? I think Kavanaugh did that. All of that being said, like, this man now holds the highest judicial seat in the land, right? After all of that. And the 19 people, most of them children, mowed down by a man with a gun, let alone the black supermarket that was targeted just a week before.
20 minutes from my house.
With a gun that said, here are your reparations on it, with like a Bible verse. You know, I'm not advocating for this, but like, people in power need to feel a little bit more pain.
Yeah, see, this is why I'm keeping quiet on this, is because I will probably go further than that. I do not condone this action, but censored.
Yeah, again, that's what I'll say. Just generally, people in power need to feel a little more pain, whatever that means. Show up at their office every day and sit there, like, do something. But the fact that, like, this is happening, first of all, that doesn't surprise me. Second of all, if you've ever studied the history of revolution anywhere, this shouldn't surprise you. People are exhausted of being sitting ducks and having people that are untouchable and who victimize people sitting in seats of power.
Yeah, let's move on before I incriminate myself. Oh,
Sorry,
it's all right. I've actually been I've been listening to old episodes of the Skeptocrat, the podcast. They do a news podcast, and I actually just recently got to the episode where they brought a lawyer on, Andrew Torres, to talk about Brett Kavanaugh's nomination, and in that episode, it hurt so much because they joked about how the only person worse that they could have picked than Brett Kavanaugh would have been Amy Coney Barrett.
Cool.
And then it was like, oh, he picked her next.
Of course he did. Sorry, I really hope I didn't get you in trouble with what I said. I don't think I did.
Well, this is my alt channel, so if it goes down, it's not a huge loss.
If you want to take this episode down, I won't begrudge you.
There might be a few beeps in the re-upload.
Hey, live your best life. It's fine. I mean, I think, God, and again, I don't, this is different, so I get it. But part of the reason that I just gave up on being nice was because, like, the other side is not playing nice.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about being nice. They care about gaining power. Like, and if that's the case, if we are all then cowing to this idea that we have to be nice in order to, like, get our way, that's why we are here right now. Because one side is trying to play chess, and the other side has launched a Molotov cocktail onto the board.
Yeah.
Like, being nice is not going to solve anything in and of itself. Like, we have to either figure out a way to get the other side to, this doesn't even make sense to me, like, follow the rules, because they won't, or like we have to figure out new rules of engagement. That's all. But I'll stop.
Okay, next tweet.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. You're here to talk, not just to sit there.
I know, but I don't want to get you in trouble.
No, it's okay.
Thoughts and feelings.
Anyway, Red Tsunami says, women don't have penises and men don't have wombs. Change my mind. So I've a bit of a surprise. Oh, you're not going to be able to see it because of the way I do this stupid thing. But yeah, I actually have I got a news article queued up for this. Man shocked to You can? Oh, you got the stream up, don't you? Okay. Man shocked to discover he has a fully functioning womb. Doctors tell the 37-year-old man it appears he could even get pregnant and give birth. Now, this is from Cosmopolitan, not the most reliable of sources, but this is a real thing. It's called persistent Mullerian duct syndrome, or PMDS. And basically, the men who have this, they have normal male chromosomes, just XY chromosomes. But what happened was, because sex is not a binary, not a strict binary, and because it's complicated and it develops in weird ways in the womb, it's an interaction of a bazillion different things. What happens here is there's a hormonal thing that normally happens that gets missed out on with people with persistent Mullerian duct syndrome. That normally, like, when that hormone hits, it's supposed to cause the female bits to, like, basically shrivel up and disappear or turn into the male bits or whatever. And if it gets missed or if it delayed or whatever, it can result in someone presenting as fully male, having a fully functioning male genitalia system, reproductive system, and having a womb. And
also, what are we doing with intersex people?
Yeah, it's, well, I think this would actually qualify as a type of intersex, would it not?
No. I'm sure it would. I just mean, like, generally speaking.
Yeah, well, that's when they'd be like, oh, that's only a small percentage of the population. So I liked Katie Montgomery has my favorite comic of hers on this was that people will say, like, oh, it's a very small percentage of the population. It's like, okay, guess what? You look at the universe, the atoms that make up your body, the elements that make up your body are less than 1% of the universe. So,
yeah. But also, how are you going to make this very black and white statement and then say, like, oh yeah, well, people that don't fit with this agree, but it's, like, not that many people. And
also, I hate the picture they chose in this article for this with from what was that movie where Arnold got pregnant, Junior or something?
I'm the worst person to ask about movies.
I don't know, but I don't recall that movie, but I feel like they treated male pregnancy as a joke.
Of course they did.
Because that was what you did at the time.
Right.
But yeah, so anyway, the way this guy discovered it was he was actually having a period every month. So there would be blood coming out of his penis as he's peeing. And so he went to his doctor to and apparently he lived with this for years. For like decades. He didn't go to his doctor till he was 37, but it was like every month he'd be peeing blood.
Man, like, that's rough.
Yeah. And so
as someone who, I understand, solidarity, my brother in Christ, because that's fucking rough. And then to, like, not want to go to the doctor or not go to the doctor, like, what do you think is happening?
Like, every time I pee the day after I eat beets, I think about going to a doctor for a second.
Panic.
Yeah,
yes.
And then I remember that I had beets. And it was like, no, it's okay.
We're good. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Men have wombs. Some women have penises. Well, some men have wombs. Some women have penises.
Yeah. Also, like, what do they think clitoris are? I mean, like, they're not a penis, but they're like a truncated version of one, right?
It's a pseudo
Like,
penis.
right.
You
Again,
look at the
and
internal anatomy. It's exactly the same thing.
I ask that, which really assumes that these people have ever seen or found a clitoris, and I feel like that's probably just not realistic, you know? Anyway.
See, I know that's the joke about finding the clitoris, but it's not hard to find. Like, it's right there. Why do
Yeah,
people have
it's not
trouble
hard
with
to
that?
find because they don't care and they don't look. And also they don't have any science education.
I don't understand the idea of not caring enough about having both of you have fun during sex to like not spend a moment to figure that sort of thing out. Like how like is sex not more fun when both people in well both, it could be more than both, but when everybody involved is actually enjoying themselves? Like
It is. I mean, it is, but I think this. I'm gonna stop because I could launch an entire tirade about this. It certainly is more fun, but especially when you grow up in a very conservative brand of Christianity, all you learn about sex is
it's for babies.
sex bad and for creation, right? Outside of marriage, sex is bad. Inside of marriage, turn the lights off, do the missionary position, and just wait till it's over if you're a woman, effectively. And yes, I know that's not everyone, but also like female enjoyment of sex is not highly valued in the Christian church. Also, I'd say it's not highly valued at large. It's getting better, but yeah, that's another conversation.
Yeah, I don't know. Even when I was a Christian, we enjoyed enjoying sex. Like if it's a chore, then it shouldn't be a chore. Like I don't know.
I feel like this could probably lead directly into the transformed wife, but I could be wrong.
Oh no, Kevin Sorbo.
Ah, fine.
That would have been funny though.
Yeah.
Yeah, transformed wife is coming up. There's gay bathroom sex.
Dude, yeah, I have thoughts.
Yeah, so Kevin Sorbo says, "We are coming for your guns. Who are you sending? The cops who are too afraid to enter a school?" Isn't he like one of the Back the Blue guys? Like,
yeah, like dog, who are you talking to?
And
Like
really
nobody is saying that.
But here's the thing. Why were the cops afraid to go in the school? It's because the guy had a gun. So, like, the fact that the cops were afraid to go in the school is an argument against letting people have those kind of weapons.
Kevin Sorbo's a fucking idiot. Like that's my
that's you don't need to apologize for that. That's just an objective fact at this point.
I just realized that I'm like cussing left and right, which I know I do regularly, but all of this tweet is just like a Sunday of rotting. One, because like again, who are you talking to? Nobody is saying that. Two, like literally nobody is saying we're coming for your guns. We're just saying like, could we please have like a little bit better background checks? Hello? Is this thing on? So like
I thought for a second you were like,
sorry.
Is my audio work?
Like, and then he comes out on the internet and is like, oh guys, I got this hot take. I'm gonna make up a situation that isn't happening to self-own the people that I support. Like, have you experienced severe head trauma in your life? Like, I need to make sure before I start punching. Like it just I'm damn near speechless because a man who is no longer relevant and hasn't been relevant for a long time is trying to like reinsert himself into the political sphere with like absolutely humiliating takes for himself.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like I don't know. I I posted on like a little while ago, and people were talking about like how, oh well, if they don't have guns, they'll just use knives. So I posted like, okay, you know what? If I knew for a fact, like if there was some, like, let's say malevolent god situation going on where he's sending someone in to shoot, to like assault my kid's school, and he's making me choose. You get to choose the weapon. Is it a gun or a knife? I'm taking the knife every time.
Yeah, buddy.
Because like,
I mean,
and I had people on that thread arguing that like, oh well, knife wounds do a lot more damage than gun wounds. It's like, okay, first off, not AR-15 wounds. Like, if you've read some of the accounts that these ER doctors have been given of these AR-15 wounds, is like, it completely obliterates your internal organs, just like even if you just get it near them. It's ridiculously powerful. But also, like, I've listened to like true crime podcasts where they'll talk about someone murdering someone by stabbing them, except that wasn't the actual murder. They stabbed them 26 times,
and then had to like strangle them or something.
And then the person that was just stabbed 26 times fought back, and so had to be killed in a different method.
Right.
So it's and again, also like if the kid runs away, like, yeah, maybe you could throw the knife at the kid, but like, I'm like, it'd be much easier to hit a kid with an AR-15 than a knife.
Right. I mean,
and then if you throw the knife, you don't have the knife anymore.
Here's the deal, right? Like, this isn't to say that this is not scary or that life isn't valuable or anything like that, right? Okay. One, if you have a knife, you have to get real close to me to do the old stabby stab. Second of all, if you come into a place where there's multiple people and you have a knife and you start stabbing someone, does it really suck to be that person that's being stabbed? Yes, absolutely. Is their life somehow less important? No, of course not. But you then have 25 other people that are going to be able to maybe get that guy in control.
It's a lot easier to disarm someone with a knife than a gun.
Right. If you have a gun, you can be as pretty far away and you can spray bullets that do a ton of damage. Like, it's just such a garbage argument because a bunch of people don't want to give up a hobby. And beyond, okay, just, I had to say this. I saw someone post the other day, I talked about it somewhere, this Christian that was like, you know, Cain killed Abel with a rock, but God didn't just remove all the rocks. We don't have a rock problem.
I saw that.
We have a sin problem.
That's just such a shit take. Ugh.
What? Like, I don't even have a... It's like... It's literally so dumb, I'm struggling to make fun of it.
Yeah. It's like, what do you even say? Like, yeah, I'm yeah, no, it's just like, it's so bad. It's so stupid. Like
clearly, yeah, you're right. I will say you're right. Rocks do still exist because that rattling sound you hear up here is a pebble. But like, outside of that, it's just like, how do functional adults believe this fucking shit? Like, how is it possible? Yeah, anyway, like, okay, fine, then why don't we just go back to the only weapon available to us are stones.
Sure, let's do that.
Let's do it
and see what happens.
I'll take it.
Bet you school shootings will drop.
Yep. I mean, hey, like, yeah, like, let's even just go back to when the Constitution was written.
Yeah, sure. Everybody can have a weapon that you can fire once and then take a minute to reload.
Right. So I said, well, if it takes 20 minutes to reload, great. You can have it. I'll give that to you. It's fine. Let's just get rid of the assault weapons.
Or even just go back to the bolt action rifles from World War I. Even those would be
fine.
Massive improvement.
Also, like, if we're going to talk about a well-regulated militia.
Oh, they don't talk about the well-regulated militia.
Yeah.
They just talk about the right to bear arms.
Precisely.
Well, I mean, if you look up the definition of militia in the Constitution, it talks about the militia being like an organization run by the state. Like, it's essentially the people are supposed to have their own weapons so that when the state needs to call upon an army for its own defense, it has these people that already have their own weapons. Because back then, when you joined the army, you brought your own shit. Well, not the British Army, but
Right.
you'd still have to buy your own shit in the British Army. But
I see people say a lot. Like, actually saw someone post, and this was just like, again, such a cell phone, that they would never give up their assault weapon because if their kid got sick and they needed to fly them to another country
yes,
in order to get treatment, and the government tried to stop them. Like, first of all, what kind of weird la la land do you live in? But second of all,
maybe if you guys had better healthcare, that wouldn't be necessary.
Maybe you could just have good healthcare in your own country, and then you wouldn't have to fucking try and fight off the American army to get your kid on.
Literally talking about hijacking an airplane to no, you wouldn't, like, when you land, you're not going to get to the hospital. You're going to get to a prison.
Right, exactly. Like, it's just a fundamental misunderstanding of, one, how the world works, and two, like, you don't actually need a gun to solve that problem. What you need is healthcare.
Yeah.
And
it's like that's
also, if you really think that any amount of weapons that you have in your possession as a single person is somehow going to fend off a tyrannical government, I invite you to check out how much we spend on defense every year and the weapons that are developed and used. Because you will not fight off a heat-seeking missile or literally anything else that the military wants to send your way with your stupid fucking AR-15 from your kitchen window.
Yeah, well, and that's not even really a valid argument, I don't think, because, like, yeah, like, the founding fathers probably did write that in with the consideration that they had just won their freedom from England through revolution, but their whole thing was like, it shouldn't be the federal government, it should be the states thing. Like, that, it's like a lot of them were big fans of the states' rights thing, so it was like, so like a state would bring up a militia. So if the federal government oversteps, then the state says, hey, we need to call on our militia to keep the feds at bay, sort of thing. So even then, it's still a government organization. It is not just idiots on their compounds with their guns fighting off the police, which never ends well anyway.
Right.
I was about to say never happens, but then I remembered Waco, and
it happens. It just doesn't end well.
Mm-hmm.
The like complete lack of critical thinking skills, it's beyond. And I grew up in a family. My dad loved guns. He's a hunter or whatever. Like, all right. One of my earliest memories is having a gun put in my hand and being like taught how to shoot. All of that to say, like, and I will say for my dad at least, like, he was a pretty responsible gun owner, kept him in a safe, did whatever. But like, the reality of the situation is, if someone breaks into your house in the middle of the night and you're a responsible gun owner and your gun is locked in your safe, you're not getting to it.
Yeah, no.
You're not getting to it.
Yeah, if you're keeping it responsibly, it's not going to be good for home defense anyway.
Right, and then you're going to what? You're going to get it out of the safe when you've been woken up in the middle of the night by an intruder who probably also has a gun, and then you're going to manage to somehow load it? Like, okay.
Yeah,
They're just not important. People just don't want to turn over their hobby and something that makes them feel like they have a big dick.
So I've started watching Stranger Things with the kids again, and first episode, that was exactly my thought, is that Will is running away from this monster, and he's got a bolt-action rifle in his cupboard, and it takes him he does get it loaded before he gets caught by the monster, but it takes him a while to load it, and it's like, realistically, that's not going to be helpful. So it's like, if you're keeping your gun responsibly, it's not going to be very useful for home protection. And so the alternative to that is, if you actually want home protection, is to keep your gun irresponsibly. Does that sound like a good idea? Like, you know what I got? I have a child-proof lock that's like one of those hotel locks that, like, you can only undo, and it screws deep into the door. So, like, if firefighters need to get in, they've probably got the equipment to bust down the door and get past that. Like, but a burglar that picks my deadbolt, he's not going to be able to get through that. I mean, yeah, I've got windows all over the house, so if somebody wants to get in, they will.
Button. If y'all want the best option of
Yeah.
getting someone to save you, panic button.
Oh, yeah, Blade Runner in the chat says is bringing up. I think that was a Lauren Boebert talking point originally. The after 9/11 we didn't ban planes. It's like, yeah, guess what? Planes have more uses than just killing things.
Right. And also, like, no, we didn't ban them, but it became a hell of a lot harder to get
To
on
fly,
them.
and also immediately following 9/11, all the flights were grounded. Like that was actually East Coast in Canada. They took in a lot of refugees that were just on planes that had to land and couldn't
That
take
could,
off
yeah,
again. Um,
God. That woman has the brain of a garbanzo bean. And it just, the more she talks,
and what's funny is she hates that she gets lumped in with Marjorie Taylor Greene all the time. It's like, stop
well, then
being
maybe
just as stupid as
y'all
her.
shouldn't be yourself. Just be better.
All right,
You hate that you get lumped together, but like,
stop lumping yourself together.
yeah, maybe just don't be the same person. I don't know.
Okay, on to the transformed wife.
Oof.
My daughter lived at home while she attended 1 year at the local university. She was asked to do a paper on gay sex in bathrooms. My husband called the professor. She had to drop out of the class. I'm sure universities are even more depraved now than they were 10 years ago. All right, so the funny thing about this is that she actually tweeted out almost this identically just a couple days ago, but then she deleted it because I guess people were like calling her out on duplicating the story.
Didn't, so I have to look at this tweet really quick. I think she tweeted, hold on, let me find it.
Well, I
There
went and
was
got,
one version
yeah,
that said she attended the local universe.
yes. That was the recent
Right.
one that got deleted. It either got deleted because of the spelling error and she just never bothered to do it again, or because she got called out for redoing it. This is the one from 2021. I've
Okay.
gotten to a point where I've stumbled across tweets and put them on here often enough that they've turned out being fake tweets. It's like, no, I'm just gonna stick to tweets that I
Roll with
screenshot
it.
myself instead of saving other
Oh
people's.
yeah, yeah,
And so
totally.
I couldn't
Well,
find her universe one, so I went to this one.
like of all the things that have never happened, that never happened the most.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
I would love to take that. That sounds like a fascinating class.
sign me up.
Like, I'd
I'm
write a paper on gay
curious.
sex in bathrooms.
Hell yeah, because
That'd be such a fun
it
thing to
happens,
research.
right? But it's
Yeah.
like very specific the way it happens, where it happens. Like, there's an entire social dynamic to it. It isn't something that happens at your local Target where like you're shopping with
Yeah,
your
no,
child.
this would
It's
be
just
probably at clubs and bars mostly.
right. Like, it's just God, this woman, I don't even like she is literally dumber than a box of rocks. Like, if I had to choose who was going to become president, my toenail clippings or the transformed wife. My toes are up for duty. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
like
Well, I mean, we had 4 years of Donald Trump. We know that toenail clippings would have been better than him.
anything, literally anything, like skid marks from someone's underwear, just like anything. Um, she, the thing that is actually scary about her, even though we all make fun of her and like whatever, um, she is fundamental Christianity played out to like its final
Yeah.
form. And I know
She.
again that we make fun of her, and I think we should make fun of her. But I think what's important is that like even though she's very extreme, I think we should be aware that like this is fundamental Christianity patriarchy played out to the way that like the people that are now fighting to make our country a theocracy, that is what they want eventually.
Yeah.
So I
She.
know like that's not funny haha, but it's scary as shit. So it's something to keep in mind.
Well, she probably thinks The Handmaid's Tale is something to aspire to.
Oh, absolutely she does. Yeah, absolutely. She's like, women don't need to go to college. Women need just to pop out babies. Before we had all these women popping out babies while their husband worked and everything was safe and secure. Like, first of all, the only safe and secure babies were rich white babies. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and while poor white babies then had still a better chance of being safe and secure, they weren't necessarily guaranteed that. And when you go down the line to people of color, there was nothing safe or secure about their birth or their entire existence. Like, anyway, this woman is
Scary.
a walking MRSA infection. Okay.
All right, on to Frank Turek.
Speaking of
Says,
MRSA infections.
the entire Christian story is the answer to the problem of evil. Everybody's dealing with the problem of evil, but only Christianity answers it. That's what Christianity is. It's like I don't think he understands what the problem of evil is. Like, it sounds like what he's saying.
I don't think he understands how to tie his own shoes.
Well, what I think I'm getting from here is that, like, he thinks that the problem of evil is just the idea that bad things exist. It's like, no, that's not the problem of evil. We know bad things exist. That doesn't, like, and everybody has to deal with bad things. We're not saying the problem of evil is that our lives should be just absolutely perfect all the time. Like, it could be. If God is all powerful, he could have just made us in heaven as it is.
Sure. But the problem is that you're saying a good God that created us exists, and somehow there's
a God who literally said,
allowed.
I, the Lord, create these things when with like evil was in the list. Like,
hello, Isaiah.
Yeah, Isaiah 53, I think.
I think that's what it is. Also, I don't remember the details. I'd have to look it up. But Frank Turek's PhD is from a school that got like fake accreditation.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and I had a whole tweet about it because I was like, this is the best.
I always thought he was one of the legitimate ones, and I actually kind of wondered at that because it's like, how is he so dumb? It's like,
I'm gonna find it. I will search this quickly. No, I remember looking it up because I always do this when people put doctor in front of their name and they're tweeting out some nonsense. I'm like, hold on, please. I will be looking you up immediately and checking out your school's accreditation. Because God, let me see.
Have you done a tweet thread on Gene Kim yet?
No. Gene Kim?
Gene Kim. He's this crazy pastor guy who always has a whiteboard that just, like, you've probably seen Heathen tweet up pictures of like his whiteboard. It looks like a conspiracy thing with the threads going everywhere and everything. It's nuts. But so he has a degree from Berkeley, and he has a PhD that is most likely from an unaccredited Christian diploma mill. But the way he presents it is like, I have a Bachelor of Science and a PhD from Berkeley and this other school. So, like, he doesn't tell you which degree comes from which school. Of course. But he's such, like, there's no possible way that he got a PhD from an actual school and remained what he is.
So I found it. Frank Turek has a doctorate in apologetics from a school that's accredited by TRACS, the Transnational Association of Christian Colleges. TRACS is a product of the Institute for Creation Research. TRACS was denied accreditation status by the government 3 times before it was granted by Bush as a political move.
Ooh.
So the more you know, right? I'm not saying you should troll Frank with that information,
okay.
But
so his school was accredited, but it not necessarily got its accreditation. I don't know, whatever.
It's accredited, but it was done to appease, like, I'd have to look up the details.
It was done for
again,
votes.
But yes, it was, exactly. So it has accreditation, but, like, do you think that's a valid accreditation?
I don't know. It's a doctorate in apologetics. He's got a PhD in BS.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't really think it matters whether your school is accredited when you get your PhD in arguing about nothing.
Yeah, you're arguing about, like, here's the thing: if there was evidence, we wouldn't need apologetics.
Yeah, well, that's one of my favorite things is that, like, so if you look at Greg Koukল's book Tactics, he has a whole chapter on flipping the burden of proof, and it's like, you do realize that what you do is called apologetics, which literally means to make a defense of, so that, like, right. You can't call yourself an apologist and not accept the burden of proof, because that's what apologetics means.
How are people so dumb? I genuinely wonder this, because I grew up deeply indoctrinated in this shit, and I thought what I wanted to do with my life was, like, become, like, a missionary's wife and just, like, give everyone the gospel and, like, blah, 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 blah. Um, and at a certain point, like real life was just like, hey, bud, this shit is wrong. Like, at least it doesn't sit right. Go look it up, test some
So
things out.
Eric, sorry to interrupt, but Eric Mishma in the
No,
chat just said "Go Devils." Is that a Brian Keith Dalton reference? Prager FU. So Eric is the same person who did the jocularity thing. So I'm hoping to get 2 for 2 on the references he's making.
Fingers crossed. I'm supporting you.
Oh yeah, and his icon is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy thumb. So.
Oh yes.
Eric, I like you.
Anyway, the short version of what I'm saying, there's no short version, it's always the long version, is that I wonder how adult human beings who have spent a lot of time studying something still believe this nonsense, but I digress. Eric, great job. 10 out of 10.
All right. So basically, this is Frank completely misunderstanding what the problem of evil even
I'm
is.
shocked.
The problem is not just that evil exists, it's the juxtaposition of evil existing simultaneously with a being who is supposed to be perfectly good and all-powerful and created everything. This is like those characterizations just can't go together. I was wondering why I wasn't getting any super chats, and I'm looking at my stream thing, and there's like not an option for me to check on super chats. So I think I don't have super chats turned on, and that's why I'm not getting them. That makes sense then.
I assume you have like all the other prerequisites, the watch hours and whatnot.
I do. I just. Oh, there's a button at the top called Insert Ad. I'm not going to use that button because I feel like that would be a douchebag thing to do.
Insert random ad. No idea what's going on.
No, I'm going to make everybody 5 minutes behind on the stream because I inserted an ad. No, I just saw a $sign. I'm like, ooh, money.
Ooh, money, yes.
No, I'm not going to make people watch an ad. YouTube will automatically put like 50 ads in this thing when we're done. Yeah, people are saying no $sign in the chat bar. Okay, that makes sense. I was kind of getting sad, like, oh no, my super chat people
probably
didn't make it over to the new channel. It's like, nope, it's me.
Like, we're not paying for this woman, sorry.
Anyway, that is the end of the tweets. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thanks for having me. Yes, indeed, it was a blast.
It was.
As always, I will literally always make fun of people's tweets, so you can count me in anytime.
Yeah, and I will literally always forget to schedule people for these things, so I will likely take you up on that offer at some point and be like, hey, how's tomorrow?
Yeah, usually that's fine. I was incredibly busy the last couple of weeks, but most of the time, if you're like, oh, hey, you want to do this in the next like day or two, I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
To bring it back to the ADHD thing, this is something like it's been helpful just knowing that this is something for like, so just being able to recognize something as like, this is something that I'm doing, this is a symptom of ADHD, that can actually like flip a little switch in my brain that's like, okay, well, I know it's a symptom of my ADHD now, so I can do something, like do it slightly differently so I can actually take care of it or whatever. Yeah. And making appointments and scheduling people for these streams is one of those things. Like, I will sit down and I'll be like, okay, I need to ask someone, and I decide who I want to ask, and then I'll open up the chat window, and then I just freeze.
I do something else.
And like, it's the same. Like, I knew I should call my doctor for months, and I would like get out my phone, I'd get the phone number ready, and then I'd just be like, I have other things that need doing right now.
Oh, I mean, so one of the things I think is important in recognizing is that, like, even if you don't know you have ADHD, but you're like, you think you probably do based on everything you've read, it allows you a degree of compassion with yourself that's not just like, I'm a horrible person, that's why I always forget things, or I'm a horrible person, that's why I can't get things done, right?
Oh,
no,
it like, was okay, such a hit to my self-esteem seeing what I can't do.
Right. You just feel like you're just not trying hard enough.
And also, and apparently this is also a symptom of ADHD, is that I feel almost guilty saying that it's an ADHD thing, like it's an excuse for me to not do it. But it's like, you have to come to terms with like, this is how my brain works, so you need to figure out.
Yep. Exactly. No, you're 100%.
There are people in the chat saying to use the ad button. I'm not going to use the add button.
Um, but yeah, I mean, just to confirm, like I did so many of the same things. Like I would go specifically to do something. I'm gonna go answer this message right now. And then I go to Twitter to answer the message, and the first tweet that pops up, all of my
Oh,
attention goes there, and I just forget that I was even gonna do that thing.
I have shortcuts on my Stream Deck that take me directly to YouTube Creator Studio, because one of the things that I do in my videos is I have a comment of the day that I read at the end, and the whole idea
Right.
behind that is like it encourages people to continue watching to the end of the video because so they can see
Of
the
course,
comment.
yeah.
It's not like a huge part of my videos, but it's something, and some people
Yeah.
actually enjoy it. Um, but I found that if I go to youtube.com and then I mean to click on the thing and go to the creator studio through our little logo thing that we get, I will like as soon as the homepage loads up, I'll see a video that catches my eye. I'll be like, oh, I got time for one video before I do this. Click on the one video, and then 2 hours later, oh shit, I got to choose a comment of the day.
Yeah, yep. No,
So I have a
it's
shortcut on my Stream Deck that will take me directly to Creator Studio, so I don't
yeah.
even see the homepage.
I mean, I think people that have not been diagnosed with ADHD, I know at least I did, they find ways to cope and to manage and to create plans that would like that help them. One of the things that I found so freeing about finally being medicated was that like I didn't have to have workarounds for every single thing in my life, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I need to pay my credit card bill. I'm just going to do that instead of like thinking about it for 6 years and then having a late fee because I just couldn't remember or care enough to do this like mundane, repetitive task. Um, and that's one thing of many. Like we could talk for hours about the like symptoms of ADHD. And shameless plug, the Unholy Trinity just put out an episode with Katie Asaurus from TikTok, she has like a million something followers, and all of her content is about ADHD. Incredibly useful stuff if anyone's
Yeah.
interested. But
Because of the kerfuffle at the beginning, I probably forgot to plug your stuff. Your links are in the description. Well, the
oh
link to
no,
your
no, it's
links are in the
fine. And I
description.
also have my own individual YouTube channel where I'm doing a bunch of interviews and whatever. But if y'all want to check out Unholy Trinity, we'd love to
Oh,
have you
I,
there
I
too.
had you tagged in on Holy Trinity because I didn't know about that one.
Oh, that's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
But I also have
Um.
like your link site is in the
Oh,
description, so
merci beaucoup.
they
Thank
should all
you.
be there, right?
Yeah, I think so. If not, it's my fault, not yours. Um, but yeah, like it's amazing how many things that we sort of assign and think we're just lazy or don't care enough or aren't trying hard enough. In reality, it's just we have a I forget what my doctor called it, like a
Executive function.
well, right, executive function disorder, but like there's some brain term that you're not getting enough of, um, and when you finally get that balanced out, like I remember thinking after I started taking medication, like this is how y'all just live every day. Like you just decide to do something and then you do it, like, and it's not this like battle with yourself to do it or get it done or remember to do it, like it yeah. Anyway, I'll reel it in because I could talk about this forever
Oh,
because I'm like Jesus.
I will listen to you talk about it for. I've been binge watching the what's the channel called? Uh, it's all about ADHD. If I just go to YouTube, it'll probably recommend me like 5 videos from there. The cat's on my lap, so it's making it hard. Yeah, there we go. How to ADHD.
Yeah.
I've been binge watching that channel, and there's just so much of what she's saying is just like, this makes me feel better about who I am. Like,
Yes.
I'm not a bad
Yes.
person for having a mess over there. Yes, I do need to deal with it at some point. I do need to be an adult or whatever, but like the
Yeah.
fact that I have trouble with that does not make me a bad person. Like, because that you're right. Sometimes I feel like I'm being lazy, and because it's like
Yep.
I don't know. Like and there have been times when I look at stuff that I need to do. I get overwhelmed and I just stand there staring off into the middle distance, not able to start anything.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And I think like so I used to be this person and I still do it, but it's not as bad. Now, when I say like I'm medicated, I am, and lots of things have gotten better, it's not a cure all. You don't become this like perfect person, right?
Yeah.
But like I used to say I'm going to make breakfast in the morning. Like I'd open things, I'd say I peel the label off something, not the label, but the, open something. And then I just like forget that I need to throw that piece of plastic away because I just took what I needed and moved to the next thing. And then go to the next thing. I'm like, okay, I put it in the pan, I do whatever, I take it out of the pan, and then I just forget that the pan exists and needs to be washed. And I get, I got the plate from the cabinet, I put everything on the plate and just forgot that the cabinet then needs to be closed. Like there's just all of these things that I was just not even thinking of doing because my brain said this is the next task, this is all you need, and then everything behind me just got kind of like whatever.
I had a bag of frozen vegetables that just got left on the counter this week after my groceries order because they didn't fit in the freezer until I rearranged some stuff. So I rearranged some stuff and then I noticed something else I had to do.
Yeah, it's like, when I would struggle because like I've always hated the dishes. That's for a variety of reasons, but part of it was that I would like go to do the dishes, and I'd say, okay, I'm going to do these dishes, and then I'd realize, well, actually, like I need to also clear out the dishwasher, because otherwise I have no place to put these dishes. Okay, so I start clearing out the dishwasher and putting them away. I realized once I opened the cabinet, like actually these cabinets need to be wiped down. So then I like start wiping down the cabinets, and then I realized, oh, that was my last like thing of wipes. Okay, I need to go order those wipes. And then like an hour and a half later, I haven't actually finished any of the things. I didn't finish the dishes. I didn't finish putting them away. I didn't finish wiping things down. Once I got to my computer, I probably didn't finish buying the wipes again. Like,
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I love about the grocery pickup at Walmart is that like as I'm going through the week, as I think of things, I can just add them so that I don't need to
right?
remember them.
Yeah.
And that's and this I can't tell you how many times I actually have a meal planning app because I know like I can't do the shopping unless I know what I'm having for the week. I can't just buy a bunch of food and then just cook whatever I want. Like I have to plan it out, otherwise the kids don't eat and they like eating.
Right.
So
That's a problem. Yeah.
um, yeah, but I can't tell you how many times I've done stuff like I'll plan a roast on this day and I'll get the recipe for there's a crock pot roast that we do it's really good that you just put like a powdered gravy thing in with some cream of mushroom soup and a bit of and it's a nice tender roast that cooks all day and it's delightful. And so I'll order the gravy and I'll order the cream of mushroom soup and I'll order like everything that I need for and I forget to order the roast. And
Oh.
like this week, my kids had double pizza pockets because
Mm.
I forgot to order bread for their sandwiches.
Hey, no complaints. But yeah, like,
Yeah, no, they didn't mind
yeah.
extra pizza pockets. And well, the reason I have extra pizza pockets is because my daughter, being a vegetarian, she gets the 3 cheese pizza pockets, and my boys like
Right.
the pepperoni ones. And
Yeah.
when I'm doing the shopping, I know that if I get up from like I usually am on the laptop on the couch, and like I know if I get up and go check and see if I have everything that I need, I'll get distracted by something and I won't finish the grocery order. So I just think, okay, do I already have pizza pockets? I don't know. I will just order 1 box of each. So there's almost always extra cheese pizza pockets because she's 1 kid versus the boys are 2 kids.
Right. Yeah. But like stuff like that, even though it works out practically, or sometimes it works out practically, it still doesn't negate that feeling of defeat that comes with having planned this whole thing and having tried really hard to do the thing and then somehow just completely missing the boat on the like most important part
Yeah,
of the
like,
thing.
oh, I
And so
forgot
you
to
still
get
feel
stuff
like
that I need to feed my children.
right. Like so of course you still feel bad and like defeated and like you're somehow this like moral failing when in reality it's just like the spoons aren't, they're not in order, they're not all there, right? Like something's not happening. um
All
but
right.
yeah, I hope you,
Well,
I know you're
it's
getting assessed, but I hope it goes well.
yeah. Well, my doctor's already said like I'm pretty sure you have it, but we need to go through the formalities.
Yeah.
And
I
of
ended up,
course, this is probably true for pretty much everyone who goes for the assessment. As soon as I stepped out of the doctor's office door, I was just like, oh, I meant to tell her about this and this and this and this.
yep. Yeah, and I actually, so because of healthcare here, I have, I mean, fortunately I have healthcare, but the healthcare that I have
Okay, so there's someone in the chat saying, should we nag Viced on every stream to go and get diagnosed instead of just talking about it?
Yes.
So, yeah, no, I have, since the last time well, maybe not since the last time I talked about it, but since my stream with Surus, where we were joking about how we're both probably ADHD, I have seen my doctor. And right now what's happening is I have the paperwork for blood work to make sure that it's safe to give me the drugs sitting in the dining room, where I now need to do that thing where I make an appointment by looking.
So the answer is yes, until he tells you that he's done that. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Make him do it on stream. Fill it out.
I'm trying to trick them into thinking I'm healthy by like spending 2 days eating salads and then going for blood work.
Be healthy, yeah.
That won't trick them. That won't trick them.
I ended up going through telehealth because I knew that if I went through my system with the way healthcare is here and the healthcare that I have, it was going to take so goddamn long that I wouldn't be able to follow through with it. Like I would just not do it. Like I wouldn't remember. It just wouldn't happen. And when I did my telehealth appointment with my provider, I called, we went through the questionnaire, and at the end of it, she was like, yeah, you have ADHD. Like it literally took one 20-minute conversation because it's just like I hit so many of those markers.
Well, see, I was worried about being judged. And I don't know why. My doctor's always been a very open, honest, like I have a great doctor. She's great. And she's very busy, so sometimes it's like she's in a rush, but she is a very good doctor. And she's never been judgmental about anything. Even the one time I said no, I don't want to give my kids the flu shot. That was stupid. But yeah, so I don't know why I was worried about that, but I was. But like when I went for it, it was basically like after I answered her questions, she basically then sat down and explained to me a bunch of stuff that I had already learned exactly from the How to ADHD channel. And the funny thing was, a lot of it was stuff that she was warning that like not all healthcare professionals keep up to date with the most recent stuff. So your doctor might not be aware of this sort of thing yet.
Yeah.
And so I was like prepared to talk about all the stuff that I learned from other people with ADHD. And she was like, she already knew it. So it's like, okay, great.
She has ADHD.
Does maybe I don't
Probably.
know.
No, I know. I'm obviously not a doctor, but usually if someone is keeping up with something that's very specific like that, again, not a doctor, but
could just be that she's a good doctor.
It could be, but how do you keep up with? Was she a psychiatrist? Like, how do you keep up with the most like? I'm not judgment. I'm just curious. Like, as a doctor, if you're a general practitioner, how would you keep up with literally all cutting edge of everything?
I don't know. Well, she does deal specifically with children mostly.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like like I think I actually come to think of it, I'm not sure how she keeps up with anything because she delivers babies. She's in. I don't think she does. I don't think she acts as a gynecologist for people, but she does have like she's qualified as an obstetrician, and a pediatrician, and like she's super overqualified for everything.
All the things.
She's a great doctor. I love my doctor.
She sounds like it. Shout out.
Anyway,
to Vice Rhino's doctor.
Anyway, the stream is now 40 minutes longer than they normally are.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna get an extra segment just on ADHD crap in this one. So thank you.
I might know some people. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, and likewise. Thank you for having me.
I'll see you around on Twitter.
All right. See you there.
Bye.
Bye.